Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun. Hello and welcome. Tonight, in his last broadcast to the nation as Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari says he is leaving Nigeria better than he met it in 2015, even as he apologizes for the pains that some of his economic policies may have brought on Nigerians. The House of Representatives, just like the Senate, amends the Central Bank of Nigeria Act, raising the Apex Bank's lending limit to the federal government to 15%. Labour Party says it will pursue its petition against the election of Bola Tinubu to a logical conclusion, confident justice will prevail in the fullness of time. And Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan wins another 5 years in power after polling over 52% of the votes in the country's rerun election. I'm leaving Nigeria better than I met it 8 years ago. And that's President Muhammadu Buhari's parting words to Nigerians as he addressed the nation for the very last time as President and Commander-in-Chief. President Buhari, who took over the reins of leadership back in 2015, reeled out his administration's achievements in various sectors. He, however, apologized for the pains some of the economic policies may have inflicted on Nigerians. The president also expresses confidence that the incoming president, Bola Tinubu, will take over from where he's stopping because of his passion for the country.
To lower the curtains on his 8-year leadership as Nigeria's president, Muhammadu Buhari addresses the nation in a farewell broadcast, commending citizens for believing in democracy.
This year we witnessed the most keenly contested presidential elections since the First Republic, and this demonstrates that our democracy is getting better and more entrenched with each election.
Part of his legacy, he says, is the Electoral Act 2020, and the president asks political actors to respect the outcome of court judgment over the elections.
Our democracy provides for, allows, and encourages seeking redress for perceived injustices, enabling some candidates and political parties that do not agree with the results to go to court. Irrespective of the outcome of the various cases, I urge all parties involved to accept the decision of our courts and join hands to build a better Nigeria.
The president believes his successor, Bola Tinubu, is the right candidate for Nigeria.
Aswaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I congratulate you on the realization of your dream, which was propelled by a burning passion to put Nigeria among the leading nations of the world. You have indeed worked for this day, and God has crowned your efforts. I have no doubt that your passion for excellence, reliance on competence, fairness in relationships, commitment to equity, loyalty to the country, and desire for Nigeria to be globally relevant would come through for you under God's guidance as you lead our country to levels higher than I am leaving. You are the best candidate among all the contestants, and Nigerians have chosen well.
President Buhari in his speech highlights some of his achievements and apologizes for the inconvenience caused by some economic policies.
In the course of revamping the economy, we made some difficult choices, most of which yielded the desired results. Some of the measures led to temporary pain and suffering for which I sincerely apologize to my fellow countrymen. But the measures were taken for the overall good of the country. Mindful of the need to ensure adequate infrastructure to drive economic growth, we completed age-long projects and processes, notably among which are the Petroleum Industry Act, completion of some power projects, completion of Second Niger Bridge, and various important roads linking cities and states.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who appreciates other arms of government for their support, will be bowing out in hours after serving 2 consecutive terms, leaving posterity to judge his stewardship.
Indeed, in a few hours from now, Nigeria's 7th consecutive democratic transition will be complete. As part of activities to herald that, an interdenominational church service was held at the National Christian Center in Abuja earlier today. Amid prayers for unity and good governance for the incoming administration, the wife of the president-elect, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, promised that Nigeria's Commonwealth will be deployed to work for Nigerians, while the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, used the opportunity to urge Nigeria's elite to work for peace and prosperity. Our State House correspondent, Kayla Megwa, reports.
Nigeria is proving herself to be a country committed to democratic processes. Celebrating this service for the 7th consecutive time, an interdenominational church service as part of the country's democratic transition. In attendance at the National Christian Center are former President Yakubu Gowon, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, wife of the President-elect Oluremi Tinubu, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, among other top government officials from the incoming and outgoing administration. Songs of praise and thanksgiving, among many performances, form part of the celebration, and the sermon is given by the Deputy President of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria.
I believe it will not be a good thing, this new dispensation, to have maybe the first 5 principal offices in the nation being occupied by one religion. No. We as a church call upon the leadership, the new leadership, especially for the number 3 position, the Senate President, to be taken by a Christian to balance the equation.
Prayers of intercession follow for the nation, incoming and outgoing principal officers, arms of government, peaceful coexistence, as well as the unity of the church.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
The president-elect is represented by his wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, as she restates her and her husband's commitment to ensure and protect national prosperity despite their age.
Ashiwaju is 71, I'll be 63. I bet I will be one of the oldest first ladies Nigeria would have. We need the grace of God, and we need everyone to do what Nigerians are expecting. God has blessed my family. We don't need the wealth of Nigeria to survive, but to do the right thing. And I promise you on this altar that with your help, with the help of God, we will set this nation on the right path.
For the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, as your time in office winds down in less than 24 hours, he makes a plea to Nigeria's elite.
God demands of the elite that we must be righteous. And this is so, whether it is Dubai or Nigeria or Tanzania. No country can be great if its elite is corrupt, self-serving, or living for themselves. That is the instruction of God.
This service is built to promote interfaith dialogue, bringing together representatives from various religious denominations to foster a sense of collective purpose and national renewal. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
And the House of Representatives today held an emergency session where it amended the Central Bank of Nigeria Act to raise the lending limit of the Apex Bank to the federal government from 5% to 15%. The amendment comes amid concerns from the public regarding why the National Assembly would approve the Ways and Means Advance's request of the President, considering that the 23.7 trillion naira request was many times over the 5% lending limit of the CBN. The lawmakers believe the amendment will be able to allow government meet its present and future obligation in the approval of the Ways and Means by the National Assembly. The passage of the bill by the House comes 24 hours after the Senate passed the same bill in an emergency session. The House also amended the 2023 supplementary budget to allow for its implementation till December the 31st this year. A former Federal Commissioner for Information and leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, Chief Edwin Clark, has taken a swipe at President Muhammadu Buhari for allegedly neglecting the Niger Delta region. Addressing a news conference at his Asokoro residence in Abuja, Chief Clark says the outgoing president failed to fulfill his vows that he made to Nigerians during his inauguration in 2015, where he pledged to be fair to all parts of the country.
He apologized that if he had of me, I thought it was very, very necessary for me to give an address, open address to Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, about his government, how he failed in his government, particularly ignoring the Niger Delta, treating them with ignominy, yet we produce everything which surviving the economy of this country. And I thought he had said he scored 100%. Done very well. But those of us who felt that he did not do well should not keep quiet.
Meanwhile, ahead of the inauguration of the president-elect Bola Tinubu on Monday, the Labour Party says it will pursue its petition against the presidential election to a logical conclusion. A statement by the party's chairman, Julius Abure, on Sunday described the conduct of the February the 25th presidential poll as a tragedy. The party is also asking its supporters and all Nigerians to continue to express their passions, emotions, and frustrations within the confines of the law, saying that justice shall prevail in the fullness of time. The statement goes on to say that despite varying serious reports of violence, malfunctioning electoral devices, and other hindrances that characterized the election, voters' accreditation and voting process was fairly satisfactorily conducted. But, according to the party, all that changed after the counting of votes. The statement reads in part, "It became clear that the correct password to transmit the presidential election results electronically and instantly from the BVAS to the INEC IREV had been criminally withheld, contrary to specifications of the law and contrary to repeated emphasis, directives, and promises to the nation and its citizens by Professor Mahmoud Yakubu and INEC officials." Now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has asked the President-elect Bola Tinubu and the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima to make public details of their assets and investments. The rights group believes this will help them start on a clean slate as they take over the leadership of the country. In a letter by SERAP, the group is asking the incoming administration to prioritize respect for human rights, media freedom, the rule of law, and the country's judiciary, including obeying court judgments, which it says the Buhari government has not honored. SERAP explains that if the election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is to be upheld by the judiciary, his government can use transparency in asset declarations as a means of promoting public accountability, ensure integrity, and ending systemic corruption in the country. In part two, after the break, with just a few hours to the inauguration of a new president, we'll look at some expectations for the incoming administration, and our data analyst, Babajide Oguso, will be joining us for that. To join us again.
in 5 minutes.
You're always so active.
And the pure bliss, it's so delicious. And it's free.
Yes, buy one Fresho and get one pack of delicious Pure Bliss biscuits free.
My baby is always running around, but keeping up is easy with the Huggies Nappy Pants because the 360 Comfort Fit waistband makes it easy to open. Easy on, easy off, so my baby can keep on exploring.
Huggies Nappy Pants. Try it today.
Ovieme.
Oh, I wish you were here.
I'm always with you.
But it's not the same without you.
MTN 5G's amazing technology will change how we experience life and the internet. Get ready to encounter the incredible. And remember, no be juju, na MTN 5G.
Every morning is an opportunity to take your hustle to the next level. Every morning is one day closer to your ambition. So, make every morning count. Cup after cup, morning after morning. Start strong, finish strong. Nescafe.
Mama, Honorable Duchess of the Market, that keeps our belly full. Her Royal Highness, the one that turns hundreds into millions. Mama no dey sleep, no dey tire. The ever-efficient Chief Operations Officer, Bebe di Bebe, new media marketer, turning likes into credit alerts. Sweet babe, running a 9 to 5, yet still turning up for your people. Women are blooming with idea. At Stanbic IBTC, we are cheering you on. Go Bloom with Stanbic IBTC. Stanbic IBTC. It can be.
It's time for friendship, time for family, time for another get together. Hey, let's celebrate. Veleta moment, a happy moment. Veleta moment, share a moment with Veleta. It's time for connection, smiles, laughter, and love. It's time for sharing moments. Hey, let's celebrate.
Enjoy every moment with the goodness of Veleta sparkling fruit drink. Available in 75cl and 37.5cl bottles and comes in red grape, white grape, and peach variants. Another product of premium quality from Intercontinental Distillers Limited, IDL. Veleta sparkling fruit drink. Celebrate every moment.
29th Mayor is here. The people of Ebonyi State are rolling out drums in the beautiful city of David to celebrate the swearing-in ceremony of the governor-elect, Right Honorable Chief Francis Ogbonnawifuru, as the 4th executive governor of the state. On behalf of the executive governor of the state, His Excellency Engineer Chief David Nweze Omahe, I, the Ebonyi State APC Chairman Chief Stanley Okoremera, cordially invite President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, National Chairman APC, His Excellency Senator Dr. Abdullahi Adamu, and other National Working Committee members of the party and all stakeholders in the Nigerian project. This historic event is scheduled as follows. Date is 29th May 2023. Time 12 noon. Venue, Pangiloro Township Stadium, Abakaliki. Come, let's celebrate God's benevolence made manifest in the will of the people. Signed, Honorable Chief Stanley Okoremera, APC Chairman and Special Security Consultant, Ebonyi State.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. In his last broadcast to the nation as Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari says he's leaving Nigeria better than he met it in 2015, even as he apologizes for the pains that some of his economic policies may have brought on Nigerians. House of Representatives, just like the Senate, amends the Central Bank of Nigeria Act, raising the Apex Bank's lending limits to the federal government to 15%. Labour Party says it will pursue its petition against the election of Senator Bola Tinubu to a logical conclusion, confident justice will prevail in the fullness of time. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan wins another 5 years in power after polling over 52% of the votes in the country's rerun election. All is indeed set for the inauguration of a new president tomorrow. And our correspondent, Emperor Simon, who's been monitoring the event at the Eagle Square in Abuja, brings us up to date on preparations for the D-Day.
Thank you, Ayotunde, and welcome to the Eagle Square venue of the presidential inauguration, which is just hours away. Much of what is happening tonight is the setting up of the venue. Already an elaborate decoration dominated with the green, white, green national colors and a touch of red, which is also one of the colors of the Nigerian Armed Forces, have been completed. Green and white flowers have also been used to adorn the part where President Muhammadu Buhari, his vice, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and their successors, as well as other dignitaries, will be sitting. Sound systems are also being set up and checked to avoid any audio glitch that may occur tomorrow. Major media organizations have been designated areas where they can mount their equipment and cover the proceedings. Nigeria's 15-time best television station, Channels Television, is on ground, ready to bring the inauguration ceremony to our viewers within Nigeria and across the shores of the country, live and direct. In the area of security management, we have seen a comprehensive deployment of personnel from various security agencies led by the Nigeria Police Force. Very extensive measures have also been put in place to ensure the protection of all those attending the inauguration and for sake of orderliness. Some strategic roads leading to the Eagle Square have also been barricaded already, with security operatives manning patrol. Only persons with accreditation tags, just like these ones, and who have responsibilities to perform tonight at the venue are granted access after thorough security screenings. Patrol vehicles have also been going around the venue, blaring sirens, while inside the venue, operatives are seen patrolling with sniffer dogs. Now, if you look where the cameraman will pan to, you will see security operatives manning patrol there, vehicle parked. All is to ensure that everything goes on smoothly. So overall, Ayotunde, much has been put in place for the presidential inauguration, and we hope to witness a peaceful transfer of power and the beginning of a new era in Nigeria's 24 years of democratic history. Over to you, Ayotunde. Thank you.
Well, many thanks, our correspondent there, Emperor Simon, giving us bringing us up to speed rather, on events happening there at the Eagle Square as we await for the inauguration day, that is tomorrow, May the 29th. Anyway, tomorrow, Robins Will Sing. Well, that was a popular song by American music legend Stevie Wonder. Tomorrow, Nigeria indeed will have another president. What do the country's more than 200 million citizens want? It's not only another president, they are singing for a better tomorrow. Babajide Ogusawo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is already here to share insights about the challenges and opportunities ahead of the next president. All right, Babajide, great to have you on the News at 10 once again.
Like you said, Robbins will sing.
What a classic song that is.
Yes,
anyway,
it was.
So we're looking at Inauguration Day, which is tomorrow, D-Day, and without doubt, it will come with mixed feelings for Nigerians. What should we expect? I mean, from the president when he gets to be inaugurated tomorrow. What do we expect?
It's talked about hitting the ground running, but more than what to expect, I've thought of how to visualize tomorrow, and I've come up with a gift for the president-elect.
A gift?
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
I probably would, if he allows me to, present this to him personally, but I'd like you to tear it open quickly.
Oh, it's for the president?
Yes, but I don't know if we will ever get to be with him. But let's just tear it open. I can help you with it.
All right. So, big one. There we go.
Yes, that's it.
Usain Bolt.
You know, for more than 3 decades, the president has had in the walls of his bedroom, the pictures of his wife, of his children. But here's what Nigerians expect from the president because of the terrible urgency of today. A president that will run. The gift is the president should hang this on the wall of his bedroom, Ayotunde, so that every morning he understands the terrible urgency that we face today. Enough of, yes, he has the beautiful pictures of his wife, his children, he's seen them for years. What Nigerians expect is, because of the terrible urgency of today, what Usain Bolt achieved on the tracks is what President-elect, who has become or who is about to become President Tinubu, what they expect is the same results on the economy, the same results on the standard and quality of living. This is what he should see, from my perspective, every morning when he wakes up, because this will remind him of the terrible urgency that we face. And so tonight, I would like to look at the standard and the quality of living, because that will really explain to us the terrible urgency of speed. We look at governance, we will see the terrible urgency of speed. We look at the business and investment climate, and we will see the terrible urgency of speed. An urgency that requires the president to sleep, wake up refreshed, and seeing this image to understand that he needs to run every day.
And run and win the race as consistently
he needs to have this image.
Possible.
He needs to have this image every morning when he wakes up in the villa. And of course, I'll be glad to help him put this personally in his bedroom.
All right, so let's get to it then. I mean, how difficult will it be to improve on the business of politics and governance?
Again, lots of ways to look at this. I'll prefer if we start with looking at it from the standard of living, and then we'll go to the quality of living. We'll look at what has happened in the last 8 years, and then we'll talk about the challenges and opportunities ahead. So if we start with what has happened with respect to standard of living in the last 8 years under President Buhari, here's what you'll notice. First, population. In the last 8 years, we've seen when President Buhari came in, 187 million Nigerians, that has grown by 50 million. Currently, estimates of population 241 million. So in 8 years, 50 million new Nigerians have been born. Annual real domestic product, which is how we measure the growth of the economy, that has moved from 69 trillion naira to 74 trillion naira. So we've seen approximately an 8% real growth in the last 8 years. The challenge is population has grown by approximately 30%. And so that number, the annual real GDP per capita, we've seen it has declined within that 8-year period. In summary terms, pain has increased, prosperity has declined. What about the price of food measured by consumer price inflation? The evidence from the central bank shows when the government came in May 2015, inflation rate was 9%. In May 2019, inflation rate was 11%. Now inflation rate is 22%. The last time inflation was that high was in September 2005. Let's look at the dollar exchange rate. It's moved from 197 naira, which was the official bank rate, to 461 naira. And at the parallel market, when the government came in, it was 220 naira. now 765 naira. Some good news from external reserves. That has moved from $28 billion to $34 billion. But in all, the standard of living picture lets us know that there's terrible urgency for President-elect President Tinubu to run.
So what are the facts concerning the performance of President Buhari on security as we try to round up now, very quickly?
Now, on security, we see some good news. Security, we really see some good news if we focus on the facts. And let's look at the facts from the Global Terrorism Index, which is the global leader of tracking terrorism cases all over the world. And based on their facts, if we take a look at the information they've shared, they've revealed that in 2022, Nigeria has seen its best security score. In other words, when the government came in 2015, there were 641 terrorist attacks. Based on recent reports, we've seen terrorist attacks drop to 120. So the fact shows that security has improved within 8 years. What has happened is, especially in the last 2 years, when the president appointed 4 new security chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, based on the evidence we've seen from the Global Terrorism Index, they say that currently, as of last year, there were only 120 terrorist, perhaps we shouldn't use the word only, there were 120 terrorist attacks relative to where we were 641 in 2015. But again, let's look at the final information. Apart from what the Global Terrorism Index is saying, what are citizens saying with respect to security? And the fact shows that since 2015, there are 4 zones that have said security has improved. 1 zone has said security has declined based on what the people say, and 1 says security is pretty much the same in the last 8 years. The zone that says security is about the same, the Northwest. North Central, families in the North Central say relative to 2015, they feel security is worse. However, the good news is families in the Northeast, Southwest, South-South, and Southeast say compared to 2015, they feel safer. Still lots of information to talk about, but perhaps tomorrow,
we'll get to see the president-elect Bola Tinubu hitting the ground running, and of course,
we need to hang this in front of his bedroom.
He needs to hang this in front of his bedroom.
He needs to see this every day because there's a terrible urgency of now.
All right, thank you so much, Babajide Ogunsanya, for your thoughts there on the News at 10. Still ahead on the News at 10, police confirm arrest of 5 Yoruba Nation agitators who had earlier hijacked a radio station in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, while 2 others were also arrested in Lagos after attacking a police station. Please stay with us. Interesting.
With Glow, bonus no dey finish. Buy a Glow SIM and enjoy 10 times airtime bonus on top every recharge, plus double data bonus on all data plans.
Let's go, mental in 5 minutes.
You're always so active.
And the pure bliss, it's so delicious. And it's free.
Yes, buy 1 Fresho and get 1 pack of delicious Pure Bliss biscuits free.
She is strong. She is active, a thoroughbred professional, and a top performer. She starts her day with a good meal and supports her systems with Didion's syrup of hemoglobin vitamin B12. Take 2 to 3 spoonfuls of Didion's daily, straight or mixed with your favorite beverage.
To be healthy, strong and active, I say, take Didion's.
Didion's syrup of hemoglobin vitamin B12, the power to unleash. Every morning is an opportunity to take your hustle to the next level. Every morning is one day closer to your ambition. So, make every morning Nescafe.
You are God from beginning to the end. There's no place for argument.
In continuation of the series of events to mark the inauguration of the administration of Sir Siminalayi Fubara and Professor Ngozi Odu, the Rivers State government is glad to announce that the high point of the transmission of power from His Excellency Governor Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike CON GSSRS Life Bencher to Sir Siminalayi Fubara will take place on Monday, May 29th, 2023 at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium, Elekahia, Port Harcourt by 9 a.m. prompt. Details of arrangements for the admission of guests into the venue are as outlined by the Security and Protocol Subcommittees. All guests are heartily welcome. Announcer Chris Finebone, Chairman, Inauguration, Media and Publicity Subcommittee.
Welcome back. Ahead of the 2023 presidential inauguration, heavy security presence can be seen in and around the Eagle Square in the nation's capital, Abuja. Besides the security operatives, other activities are in top gear for the event that will usher in a new administration after the 8 years of the Buhari administration.
In less than 24 hours, the Eagle Square Abuja will be a beehive of activities as the 16th President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be sworn in. Heavy security presence is seen in and around the venue, as well as the Federal Fire Service and National Emergency Management Agency, amongst others. Inside the Eagle Square, last-minute preparations are taking place. Decorators on the ground ensuring all I's are dotted and T's crossed to create a perfect venue for tomorrow's event. The Nigeria's colors are everywhere in the venue, even as the chairs are all covered. More interesting is the fact that everything is set precisely. The stage where the podium will be is set to face and align with the Aso Rock and the Nigeria coat of arms. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, gives a breakdown of the expectation for the presidential inauguration.
Some bit of planning, some bit of legislative framework. We can have a very, very seamless and credible transition. And that's what we'll be able to demonstrate. Within the first hour of the day, from the national anthem to the other subsequent events that have been put in place, we'll have a brand new president, the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And from there, things will begin to roll.
The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Alkali Baba, is also around to see the readiness of his personnel.
We are prepared 100%. So we are now putting plus to the 100%. And we hope and believe that what we will do will sustain what we are doing now to the last day. So we are prepared, but we will continue preparing, continue to improve on what we have done. It's crowd control.
A member of the Presidential Transition Council is optimistic about tomorrow.
It's more about the architecture, being able to give the power of the message of this particular investiture, this inauguration, as the message of one, Nigeria better together.
Tomorrow's event will be historic for Nigerians as it marks the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and the transition into a new government.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has advised the governor-elect Siminalayi Fubara that or not to allow his administration to be hijacked by a group of individuals. To succeed, Governor Wike says the incoming governor must not condone the excesses of his aides and must take away sentiment in selecting members of his cabinet. Governor Wike was speaking at a Thanksgiving service to end his administration and usher in a new government at the St. Paul's Anglican Cathedral Church in Port Harcourt.
It's an atmosphere of praise as the Rivers State government offers thanks to God for the successful second tenure of Governor Nyesom Wike and the planned inauguration of his successor. attendance at the St. Paul's Anglican Cathedral, Job, in Port Harcourt are the outgoing and incoming governors, their deputies, former Governor Peter Odili and wife, other past and serving public officers, religious and traditional leaders. The essence of today's service is captured in the only lesson read by Governor Nyesom Wike from the book of Luke, chapter 17, verses 11 to 19.
And it came to pass, as he went to Jerusalem, that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, who stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us.
In his message, the Archbishop of the Niger Delta Ecclesiastical Province admonished the incoming administration to unite the state, while encouraging Governor Wike to continue to render services to the state and the country.
It's not a mistake. It's a very good coincidence that this service is holding on a Pentecost Sunday, because even the leaders, political or whatever, we all need the power of the Holy Ghost to render a wonderful service.
Then the moment of thanksgiving and intercessory prayer for the state and the nation. Governor Wike appreciates God for his protection and encourages the governor-elect to trust only in God and be firm in decision-making.
I don't know how many of you as a politician would have passed through what most of us have passed through and survived. And then you are telling me to attach myself to something I don't know when I'm seeing the protection from the only person who can give you protection, and that is God Almighty.
Before leaving office, Governor Wike fulfills his promise of providing official vehicles to all the bishops, even as he asked them to go receive the certificate of occupancy for their private residences.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel has called on Christians to imbibe the culture of thanksgiving and appreciation for God's abundant blessings in their lives. Governor Emmanuel made the remark at the commissioning of the International Worship Center in Uyo, the state capital, as part of activities marking the end of his administration in the state.
This is the International Worship Center built by the Udom Emmanuel administration as a center for Christian interdenominational meetings. The unique architectural masterpiece with the shape of an aircraft sits on a 5,000-acre space of land with the 10,000 sitting capacity. This Thanksgiving service is the first event to hold in this facility, and it is attended by thousands of Christian leaders from all parts of the country and beyond. They sing and dance in appreciation. In their exhortation, Bishop Simeon Afolabi and Reverend Umar Ukpai commend Governor Emmanuel for the initiative and pray for the state and the people.
We look at these iconic International Worship Center. We can say Tetelestai. We are finishing this not on a note of defeat, but on a note of victory. We can lift a hand and say, Tetelestai is done.
And this hall, this cathedral, this edifice offers us a chance to get closer to him. In getting closer to him, he helps us to know him personally, I know him intimately, I know him experientially, I know him empirically, I know him as a living reality. And our enemies will be afraid of us.
Governor Emmanuel is full of conviction that as governor, he did his best within his powers and thanks God for giving him the opportunity to serve the people.
It wasn't our intellect. It wasn't our education. It hasn't been our strength. It hasn't been anything from us, but his right hand. The gracious hand of the Lord upon us has seen us through the past 8 years. And to him alone be all the glory.
The Thanksgiving service marks the end of the 8-year tenure of Governor Udom Emmanuel as governor of Akwa Ibom State.
The Oyo State Police Command has arrested some suspects who allegedly hijacked a radio station in Ibadan, the state capital. The 5 suspects, one of them a woman, allegedly were pushing a separatist agenda. One of the suspects, who spoke in Yoruba language, said they acted on the instruction of some leaders of the group. While the police have promised to expand the network of arrests on other members of the group after a thorough intelligence. Meanwhile, the leader of the umbrella body of Yoruba Nation Self-Determination Struggle, Emeritus Professor Banji Akintoye, has condemned the invasion, describing it as lawless and profoundly criminal. Professor Akintoye, in a statement signed by his Assistant Director of Programs, Olatunde Amusat, said, quote, "The attention of the Yoruba self-determination movement has been drawn to the activities of a group led by a woman that has claimed to be running a totally different agenda for Yoruba emancipation and that has been engaging again and again in criminal activity. The group has been warned repeatedly but has refused to change." Meanwhile, the police today also arrested 2 of the agitators in Lagos when 15 of them allegedly stormed the Alausa Police Division, chanting that the Yoruba Nation has taken over. According to the police spokesperson, the agitators injured some police officers who attempted to disperse them. The police spokesperson said on seeing that 2 of their members had been arrested, the others took to their heels. A wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, says wives of military officers are agents of stability and development. Mrs. Buhari, who was speaking during the public presentation of a book, The Journey of a Military Wife, also commended the women for supporting their spouses to carry out their constitutional roles for national development. Well, the book was written by the president of the Defense and Police Officers Wives Association, DEPOA, Mrs. Victoria Irabo in Abuja.
It is a joyous reunion of some sort as wives of retired military and police officers are joined by wives of serving officers in support of the leadership of the Defense and Police Officers Wives Association. Service chiefs and wives of former heads of state were also in attendance at the official unveiling of the book, The Journey of a Military Wife, written by the wife of the Chief of Defense Staff, Mrs. Victoria Irabo. Conversations here center on the challenges faced by military wives while their spouses are concerned with national security.
Your book will be an inspiration to younger officers' wives. They will learn from your book. And I'll ask everyone here to purchase the book, make it go round, send it to schools.
I believe that that book certainly will help us to be able to reshape some of our policy documents to the effect that we will have better families, better children, and of course, a better nation.
The wife of the president is the special guest of honor, and she pays tribute to military wives, especially in the face of some very traumatic moments.
Using her own personal experiences as a military wife to set guidelines and provide the necessary information to guide current and will-be spouses of the military officers. The story in this book clearly underscores the significance and relevance of women as an agent of stability, peace, and development in the evolution of the state.
Military wife, can we put our hands together?
The book captures the experiences and sacrifices of military spouses.
The military officers can hardly achieve success without their wives. Their wives are the ones who work behind the scene to ensure the success of the military officer. So because of dearth of material for the journey of military wives, I decided to undertake the challenge of writing a book on the military wife.
The book is expected to serve as a reference guide for military families and for all Nigerians seeking information on the role and impact of military wives in national security.
Eco Hotel Hakuna Matata theme park has hosted children from across Lagos State through a memorable Children's Day celebration. The park features a wide variety of activities for all ages, from water parks with slides, pools and water attractions to a dry section area as the children relish the moment.
Left foot, let's start. Freeze!
It's an all-day adventure for the children as they gather to celebrate Children's Day at the Akwa Hotel Akuna Matata theme park in Lagos. Games, face painting, art painting, and many more fun activities are here for the kids to enjoy the day. Then dance performances, dance competition, and music rendition.
We call them a heritage of God. If I'm right, children are beautiful. Children are, our logo here, our slogan here is Hakuna Matata, of course, means no worries for the rest of your days. And that symbolizes happiness. It symbolizes joy. It symbolizes everything beautiful. So once they get in here, automatically, once a child gets in here, I promise you, their faces lit up. They're happy. So you can imagine a happy child coming to a place that is as colorful and beautiful. What do you expect? They are here to have fun. And trust me, they have exactly what they expect. Everything you expect and more happens at Hakuna Matata theme park.
Akwa Hotels, in conjunction with the Big Bounce House Africa, puts this together for the kids specifically to celebrate them, to tell them they are wonderful. Daddy wants to tell his son and his daughter, you are too nice, you are a bundle of gifts to us. Mommy wants to tell them that also in a very special way. And so, the Hakuna Matata theme park is just, the best place to bring them to.
To the excitement of everyone is an energetic talking drum performance for popular talking drummer, Ara, accompanied by two younger talking drummers.
Having fun, and this is the best Children's Day ever.
Whenever they hold a party, I always would love to come because it's very, very interesting and fun, like this one.
Akwa Hotel Hakuna Matata theme park is a 20,000 square kilometer park and regarded as the family paradise on Akwa Atlantic City. The park is said to be the #1 theme park in Lagos with wet zone and dry zone activity.
Outside our shores, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has won another 5 years in power in Turkey's election. Ecstatic supporters of the Turkish president have been gathering outside the presidential palace in Ankara, waving Turkish flags and cheering as they celebrate the victory. Some foreign leaders have also sent in congratulatory messages. Officials say Erdogan won 52.14% of the votes, with only a small number still being counted. His rival Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu says the election was unfair. Time now for sports news. Nigeria sports has experienced its positive and drawbacks in the 8 years of the Buhari administration. Here's the report.
Government's commitment to empowering the millions of Nigerian youth through sports is determined by the persons appointed to drive its policies in the ministry. Successive governments have engaged persons not known in the sector to become ministers, and President Muhammadu Buhari's administration isn't any different. In the 8 years of President Buhari's administration, Mr. Solomon Dalong from 2015 to 2019 and Mr. Sunday Dare from 2019 to 2023 were appointed ministers. Both never had any footprint in sports before their appointments. This seeming inexperience characterized Dalong's inability to manage Nigeria's participation at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. Nigeria's men's football team were stranded in the United States owing to logistic issues before getting into Brazil on the day of the first game of the event. Mr. Dare had his share of the drawback when some track and field athletes staged a protest in the middle of the Tokyo Olympics after they were disqualified from competing owing to failure to comply with out-of-competition testing requirement. These two scenarios attracted international attention. Both ministers walked into the National Federation's landmines in 2017 and 2021 amid mismanagement of the Athletics and Basketball Federation elections. The crisis from basketball that spanned from Dalong's tenure in 2017 to Dare's tenure in 2021 dashed the hopes of the women's national team from participating at the World Championships. In the midst of the pitfalls, the adopt a athlete and adopt a pitch policies of the administration yielded some positive outcomes.
This pick a talent, sponsor a talent really has made many of our budding athletes travel abroad for education, and while there, they are still running. Many of them wouldn't have had that opportunity if not for policy, well-defined policy by this administration.
If it doesn't come back, they should bring somebody who thinks like him or who even thinks better than him, because normally you want an improvement on anything. Like as a father now, you want your son to do better than you. So we need somebody like him or who thinks better than him to continue those policies, because it is not enough to have those policies sitting somewhere. It has to be implemented.
The identified talents must be developed. We must let people know that even beyond being an athlete, sports is an industry where you can do so many other things and different levels of engagement. We need to use sports to engage our youth. We are not doing near enough of that. We're not doing enough of that at the moment. And we need to have a policy that harnesses the youthful population, the youth population we have, and turn that into a talented pool of athletes that can benefit us in the future.
Under the Adopted Pitch initiative, the main bowl of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja has undergone befitting rehabilitation with the support of the Dangote Group. The Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja has hosted international football matches after the renovation. But the National Stadium in Lagos, which has suffered years of neglect, appears a daunting task for the minister, despite the financial backing of the businessman, Kessington Adebutu.
Over 380 Nigerians go there daily. Families, children, mothers. What do you think they go there to do? They go to access and use the functional aspects of the stadium. Yes, certain aspects of that stadium have gone bad. And what do you expect? 51-year-old stadium, built 51 years ago, left unattended for 19 years. Then you have a government that has started that journey. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a few steps. What was approved and released, administered by the Dangote Group, is 450 million. That was the exchange rate. The Dangote Group did the procurement, chose the contractor, and paid the contractor based on the presentation of certificate of performance. The same thing with the stadium in Surulere, 450 million. Nowhere in the world can you use 450 million to renovate a 51-year-old stadium.
In April, some of the floodlights caved in after heavy rain, forcing the minister to close the 51-year-old complex for thorough assessment and safety reasons. As the new administration assumes office, it needs to sustain the Nigeria sports industry policy and the national 10-year football master plan of the Buhari's government, focus on aggressive grassroots development while respecting the autonomy of the National Sports Federation and the Nigeria Olympic Committee.
And the main news again. President Muhammadu Buhari today told Nigerians that he is leaving the country better than he met it in 2015. The president, who said this in his last broadcast to the nation as commander-in-chief, also apologized for the pains that some of his economic policies may have brought on Nigerians. That's the news at 10 tonight. We thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. To have a good night.